Get Up saying the Blazers are going to win. Wait, what?
What's he doing?
The Blazers are going to win
What's he doing?
the West.
Charles, what are you doing?
Will Kane's in the building, everybody. How are we doing, Will?
I'm good. You know, they say, Charles likes to gamble. This is going to the roulette table and putting it all on a number, Right. I'll take 12. All of it. 12.
Max, is Chuck's take reasonable or ridiculous?
Charles Barkley's my favorite person on TV, right?
Yeah.
I think he's the greatest entertainer in the world. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. Cantor is a really good scorer, right? Like, he's a really good offensive player in that respect. Cannot play defense. The whole key to the Blazers this year, whether they could really make a run, was Nurkic's development, right? Like, could he, because his trajectory, it's been up and down. If he could start truly ascending, they might be dangerous. And he was, and they looked dangerous, and then he got hurt. And even with him, they were not going to get out of the West. The Blazers got zero chance to get out of the West. Like, everyone else on every other team would have to get hurt. They're a good team. They'll make a little run. They cannot get past the Warriors. They cannot get past the Rockets. No, they can't get out of the West.
I agree, but I'm not going to call it ridiculous. And the reason why I'm not going to call it ridiculous is because I think in today's game, success is predicated on perimeter play, particularly from your guards. And right now we have Damian Lillard averaging 29.5 in the first two games against Oklahoma City, and with C.J. McCollum averaging 28.5. If those two guys were to do that, and clearly we don't believe that they would, but if those two guys were to do that, that gives them a chance. When we look at the Houston Rockets, we look at the greatness of a James Harden. James Harden's averaging about 36 a game, and then everybody else falls off to some degree. You got 16, 17, that kind of thing. Again, I don't think it's going to happen. I certainly wouldn't pick them to beat the Golden State Warriors by any stretch of the imagination, but when you compare ridiculous to reasonable, I think it's closer to reasonable than ridiculous because of the manner in which we see CJ and Damian Lillard playing together. So I think you have to ask yourself the question, if Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, if we were able to sit here and say, these guys are going to average 29 and 28 respectively throughout these playoffs, is it ridiculous then? The answer to me would be no. It wouldn't be ridiculous then. I don't believe it would happen, but it wouldn't be ridiculous.
Certainly on that scale from reasonable to ridiculous, it's much closer to ridiculous. Okay. I love Charles as well. And he said several things, I think, in that clip which are true, which is the Portland Trail Blazers are extremely underrated. Their star, Damian Lillard, is criminally underrated. I believe he's probably the second best point guard in the NBA, assuming we take James Harden out of the equation.
This year.
I got him this year's first team All-NBA at point guard.
Ahead of Steph Curry.
Yes.
But Harden's a point guard.
Not as a talent, because I'm always going to pick just this year because he's had to do more with less.
Taking Harden out of the equation, I would have gone Steph, then Lillard, then Kyrie.
Why are you taking Harden out, though?
Because I don't know.
I don't know exactly. I don't know.
They have Chris Paul. He didn't originally play point guard. He's not.
I know, but he's a point guard now.
All right. But the point of this in the end is it is ridiculous, Stephen A. And Max, even though it is, you went a little far in saying if every other team had every other player injured. The Blazers are real, and they can beat everybody in the West except for one team. And that's the issue. And ultimately, the reason Charles's prediction is ridiculous is because of the Warriors, not because of the Rockets, and honestly, not because of the Blazers. It's because the Warriors are still head and shoulders above everybody else. I saw you last night. I watched you last night. You did a great job.
Thank you.
You were asked, what do you expect to see from Kevin Durant? Dominance. And you got it. Right, you got it. And the thing about Kevin Durant that we saw last night is why you should always go back to the Warriors, because they play the right kind of basketball and their star wants to fit into the right kind of basketball.
Let me give you the huge gaping hole in your argument. We have all recognized, I know I got the Warriors, I believe you have the Warriors, but we've talked about how Houston has a chance. But you just said Portland has a chance to beat anybody else.
Well, hold on. The one mistake you made is I'm not somebody saying Houston has a chance.
Okay, that's fine. That's fair. Fair. All right, fair enough. Well, then the hole is not gaping. But here's my argument. Portland doesn't have to play both of them. They only have to play one because they're going to knock out. One or the other is going to knock one another out. So let's just say hypothetically, I don't believe it. Max hasn't said it, but he gives Houston a chance. If Houston were to upset Golden State,
there you go.
Portland goes against the winner of Denver San Antonio, who I believe they could beat. So now you're in the conference finals against Houston. How is Charles Barkley's assertion ridiculous
They're not gonna
if
beat
they got a
Houston.
chance.
I'm telling you, they're not
that's a
gonna
good
beat
pass.
I don't believe it either.
But let me-
I don't believe it either.
That's
But
really
they're gonna
good.
cheat.
That's really good. The only thing for me is Houston's not going to beat Golden State.
I don't feel that way
I don't think
either.
they beat the Rockets either. By the way, the Rockets, since they've had their full complement of players, both by point differential and by record, the best team in the league.
I'm with you. I believe
and by the way, they took 7 games.
I believe Houston or Golden State's coming out of the
Houston,
West.
7 games with the Warriors without Chris Paul,
Right.
missing 27 consecutive threes, lost by single digits. I know your counter-argument to that one. Neil Olshey has done an incredible job. By the way, he was really good with the Clippers, and he's like redesigned this Portland
It's nice.
team.
I wouldn't say incredible. But
I'd say incredible. He's redesigned the Portland team on the fly, like trading all their pieces and getting back and building around. He's done an incredible job. But again, the only way they really had a shot, and even that would make them a dark horse, is if Nurkic's development, which was coming along, it was going in the right direction, but then he's out now. So you're taking their third most important player out, and they would still be the underdogs with him? They ain't going to do it. Sorry, they ain't going to do it. And the Rockets, I think the Rockets are being criminally slept upon, by the way, especially with Boogie hurt right now. Now Clint Capella's not sucked out. He's a real rim defender. Are we sure that Draymond Green's better than Clint Capella right now?
All right.
The Rockets are real.
So they're going to have a dogfight, obviously, in this series, and we know they're not as good as the Warriors or Rockets. Game 3 tonight in OKC. Thunder looking to avoid going down 3-0 against the Blazers. Game 4 is Sunday night. Stephen A., will this series be tied after the weekend?
Which one?
We're going to start with Blazers Thunder.
I'm going to go yes with trepidation. The way I look at it, if Portland wins one of these games, it's over in 5. I think Oklahoma City knows it. I think Paul George will show up. I think Westbrook's going to show up tonight in a big, big way. The question is, what's he going to do in Game 4? Tonight, if I'm Damian Lillard, if ever there was a night I need to be ready, it's tonight. Because if you think about it, throughout the career of Russell Westbrook, think about the one thing we've never said about it. We've never said somebody giving it to you. Even when Ricky Rubio had a game, we know Ricky Rubio ain't on Russell Westbrook's level last year in the playoffs. But you know what? He was making some shots for a game, and Russell Westbrook had that press conference. I'm going to put an end to that, you know what. And that was that. In this particular, and Donovan Mitchell would preserve. In this particular instance, we're not talking about Oklahoma City losing. We're talking about how Dame Lillard, Dame Time, has given it to Russell Westbrook. I've never recalled the time in Russell Westbrook's career where we looked at one man and said, yo, he's giving it to you. And the kind of competitor Russell Westbrook is, if there were ever a night that Damian Lillard needs to be ready, it's tonight.
Agreed, and Lillard's not a good defender. Look, I don't think they're going to get swept, but I hate to say it because I thought the Thunder could do something. Paul George still ain't right. Russell Westbrook is, as usual, pulling too hard. Here's the issue, and I think the Blazers are going to be up 3-1 after 4 games. Here's the issue. Westbrook is already going at 100%. There's no new gear he can find. In fact, the best thing for him to do, as I often say, is relax a little bit.
Be more efficient.
That's not what's going to happen. And it is Lillard this season who's playing with something to prove because of what Drew Holiday did to him last year in the playoffs when he got swept. And the thing about Lillard's game is this. If his shot is on from long range, which it usually is, he's the primary ball handler. You can't deny him the ball. He's also a good passer. If he's hitting clutch shots, it doesn't matter how hard you try, there's really nothing you can do. He's the best approximation of Steph Curry in the Western Conference, and I think he has a chance to be a better clutch player than Steph. I don't think there's anything Westbrook can do to win the next 2 games. Tonight, yes.
I'm with you, Max. I think it will be 3-1 by the end of this weekend. I think Russ is good for a game.
Yeah,
I think Russ has a takeover game. He's not going to get swept. And for what it's worth, on that list we just put together, Russ, for me, comes in about 4th now on point guard. And 4th is good enough to step up an occasion and get you a game. But I don't think he's going to bring it back to 2-2. I think the Blazers are real. I think the Blazers are fairly outpacing the Thunder in this series.
I will say we do need to guard ourselves against pointing the finger completely at Russell Westbrook, because even though he's shooting 10% from three-point range, 1 for 10, other guys got to step up and hit some shots. I mean, damn, he's giving the ball up enough for guys to get shots. They're just not making it in OKC.
But to your point, he's got to be more efficient. He's got to have better shot selection.
I'm not questioning that, but I'm saying
Don't turn the
for
ball over so
Oklahoma
much.
City to tie this series, They got to do what they were doing for the first 3 quarters of the season. Other guys got to step up and make
Paul
shots.
George got hurt, brother. He got hurt.
Yeah.
You know?
One more I want to get to. NBA Hall of Famer Clippers advisor Jerry West, we were talking about him earlier, said on the Dan Patrick Show that passing on Zion Williamson would